A little haircut.
Yep. Takes a big wooden bowl, rubs it all over with a fresh cut garlic clove.
The other thing is it's important to squish the anchovy with a mortar and pestle.
Yeah, you got to mortar and pestle the anchovy. You got to put in a raw egg, fresh black pepper, freshly grated Parmesan cheese. I think that's in a Caesar salad. Let's say it is.
Yeah. Then all the waiters come around. They sing, snip, 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 snip.
And I don't remember, Jesse, who gets the haircut?
The youngest person at the table.
The youngest person at the table. They sit back in their chair, and it's like getting your hair washed at the hairdresser, but instead of putting your head over the sink, it tilts back into the bowl, the salad bowl.
Bingo.
And you just get a little haircut snip, a little bowl cut. This is the origin of the bowl cut. Did you know that? That's where the term comes from.
Oh, I did not know that, but yeah. I can see it. They're also at the Del Rey famous for their pepper steak.
What's the pepper steak at the Del Rey Steakhouse?
It's a steak. It's a ribeye.
Yeah.
A prime steak, nicely marbled and aged. Then they cover it in pepper and a little bit of arm hair.
Which is the one that has the leg shavings? The leg hair shavings?
Oh, that's the Clams Casino.
Oh. Gross. This is really gross. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Believe it or not, when I came up with arm hair, I had an even grosser specific in mind.
I bet you did. But there are children listening. So we'll just say butt hair. You're welcome, parents. Enjoy the rest of your drive.
Let's take a quick break. More items on the docket coming up in just a minute on the Judge John Hodgman podcast.
Hi, I'm Allie Gertz.
And I'm Julia Prescott, and we host
Round Springfield.
Round Springfield is a new Simpsons podcast that is Simpsons adjacent. In its topic, we talk to Simpsons writers, directors, voiceover actors, you name it, about non-Simpsons things that they've done because, surprise, they're all extremely talented.
Absolutely. For example, David X. Cohen worked on The Simpsons, but then created a little show called Futurama. That's our very first episode.
Yeah.
So tune in for stuff like that with Yardley Smith, with Tim Long, with different writers and voice actors. It's going to be so much fun. And we are every other week on MaximumFun.org or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, everybody, it's your Judge John Hodgman. Recently, we had a great docket episode with the incredible Tre'vell Anderson as guest bailiff, co-host of the great Maximum Fun podcast, Fanti, which you should take a listen to. But it was a podcast that prompted some letters. We often get some. But we did get a few letters around one particular case. This was between Andrea and her husband, Shane. Shane likes to tickle Andrea. Andrea doesn't like it. And even when she tells him to not do it, he tries to still do it. And Tre'vell and I both endeavored to make very clear that this was not okay. That as with any question of touching another person's body, full and complete consent should be sought. And if it is not given, or if you are told to stop tickling someone, stop it. Stop it, Shane. We had a lot of conversation around that very serious message, but more than a few listeners felt that message got a little lost in the conversation. So just in thanks to the listeners who wrote in and to honor their concern, I just wanted to reiterate that. Shane, stop tickling Andrea. Don't touch another person's body without consent. All right, let's get back to the case.
Welcome back to the Judge John Hodgman podcast. We are clearing the docket this week.
Jesse, have you ever been in an abandoned hospital or like research facility?
No, I can't say I have.
I have been because acting sometimes happens in them.
Sure.
And I'm the star of the Tina Fey movie Baby Mama.
Yeah.
And we did a long sequence in which Amy Poehler supposedly is giving birth, and we had to go, 3 hours out of town to find an abandoned hospital to shoot this thing. And it was the most terrifying day of my life, wandering around these empty surgical operating theaters. But then on the beloved and late and lamented The Tick, we worked in 2018. Griffin Newman and I and Peter Serafinowicz, we all did a bunch of days at an abandoned, I think it was an abandoned Pfizer lab. And it was just like floors and floors of empty laboratories with the most bizarre signage on the creepiest doors. So there would just be this deadpan sign that just would say cold room. And then there would be a sign. I just took so many pictures when I was there, and I just found them in my phone thinking of this. There's a sign where it's just this panel, and there are 5 options. Each one has an emergency light that could be illuminated. And the options were alarm, audible silence. That was an alarm. Supervisory means nothing. And then security. But none of those were illuminated. Do you know which one was illuminated?
What was illuminated, John?
It just said trouble.
Right here in River City?
Yeah, right here in River City. That's why you need this big DLT.
How did they spell trouble? Was it all lowercase?
No, it starts with a capital T, and that rhymes with P, and that stands for proceed.
So David asks, which side of the road is the proper side to walk on when there's no sidewalk? I live in Altadena, California. It's a quasi-rural suburban part of Los Angeles where there are almost no sidewalks. I was taught as a child that if you're walking in the road, you walk against traffic on the left-hand side so that you can see the cars coming at you. I notice almost everyone else around walks with the traffic on the right side of the road. The issue now is staying 6 feet apart from people. If I'm walking on the left side and someone's walking towards me, who should cross the street to maintain distance? I just became a father, so I'm pushing a stroller. Doesn't feel safe to push the stroller back and forth across the street. Should I abandon my childhood training and just walk with the traffic? First of all, John, before you get into the answer to this, I just want to give a shout out to Altadena, California. One of my kids goes to elementary school in Altadena, California, or does when elementary schools exist. And I just want to give a shout out to a couple of my favorite Altadena, California businesses, Walima Hat Company and McGinty's Gallery at the End of the World. That's just for my Altadena people.
What is the hat company called? Wooly, the hat company?
Walima. It's run by my friend Cody Walima, Wellema. He makes hats.
That sounds awesome. What kind of hats does he make?
Beautiful ones. He's a real hatter.
Oh, and then the other place, the Gallery at the End of the World?
It's a combination antique store and art gallery, and it's run by my friend Ben. They're on the same block right there in Altadena, California.
And how can you have a curbside brick and mortar store if they don't have any sidewalks in Altadena? Is this person... It's a commercial block. So there are some, but the residential streets, they're absolutely right. And this was terrifying to me because, my son's school has a curbside drop off, but you can only do that once your kid is, in first grade, maybe, let's say. So you have to walk your kindergartner in because otherwise they'll just space out and wander away from the school. Sure.
And parking in the neighborhood.
That's a kindergartner's job. Space out and walk away.
And